mute yourself. Those who have not muted, please mute yourself. Kindly mute yourself. Those who have not muted, mute yourself. Okay. So is this PDF visible to you all?
Ma'am.
Okay. Okay, fine. So a very good morning, everyone. I welcome you all for the Strength of Materials lecture series. Today, we shall continue with the circle. You remember the previous session, right? So analytic method, we have discussed how to solve numerical examples, how to determine principal plane, principal stress, maximum shearing stress, and so on and so forth. Today, we shall discuss to find out all these stresses through Morse circle. That is a graphical method. So in compound stress, basically, I had already said before, basically, you can determine these compound stress by analytic method as well as graphical method. So whatever we have studied till now, it is analytic method. So with the help of some formulas, we have derived some formulas, and with those formulas, we have determined the compound stress, different stresses in a two-dimensional stress system, right? So today we shall see the graphical method. So by drawing the graph, how one can determine the stresses acting on a two-dimensional stress system or an inclined plane, right? So today's topic is Morse circle and its construction. How do you construct a Morse circle and how one can determine all the stresses? So as the heading goes here, I hope this is visible to you all. So this is Morse circle of stress. Okay. So the Cartesian system with direct stress along one axis and shearing stress along another axis is called as Morse circle. So what is basically a Morse circle? The meaning of Morse circle is when you draw, you see, usually you know how to draw a graph, right? In graph, what all you have, you know how to write a scale. You know, with you will usually take two axes in a 2D graph, right? X axis and Y axis. So you also know what is a Cartesian system. What is a Cartesian system? Anybody? How do you mark a point in a graph? If I want to say, I want to mark a point in a graph, x-axis, y-axis graph, how do you mark it? Anybody? You need the coordinates, is it not? You need the x coordinate and you need y coordinate, yes or no? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you need x coordinate and y coordinate. So that coordinate system, that is called as Cartesian system. So Morse circle can be drawn only you in the Cartesian system, that is coordinate system you need to have. So in a Cartesian system, okay, direct stress along one axis, or here you can say it as x-axis. So when you take x-axis as direct stress, see in a two-dimensional stress system, you have the sigma x and sigma y, which we have already solved the problems. What is sigma x and sigma y? Those are the direct stress. It can be tensile, it can be compressive. Those are direct stress. So if you take those direct stress along x-axis and shearing stress, that is Q or tau max, as y-axis, such a system or that circle is called as Morse circle. Okay, in Morse circle, you will take x-axis as direct stress and y-axis as shearing stress. Okay, now by drawing this Morse circle, the principal plane, maximum shearing stress, and their planes can be found out. That is what it has been written here. Okay. Now, we know that, okay, so we know two formulas. We have already derived this. We have sigma n and sigma t formulas. I hope you remember these two formulas. What is sigma n? Normal stress. What is sigma t? Tangential stress, right? So we know this formula. We have already derived this. Same thing I have written here, equation 1 and equation 2. Equation 1 is normal stress. Equation 2 is tangential stress. We know these formulas. We have derived this. By using these two formulas, we have derived the further all the equations, right? Hope you remember that. Now I have written these two formulas. Now I'll tell you by using these formulas. Now how did I come to know that this principal plane, principal stress can be found out in graphical method as well? What made us to say that a circle can show you all these stresses? So that proof I'm going to show you. Okay. So we have the two formulas, that is sigma n and sigma t. So I have just written it here, and I have written it as equation 1 and equation 2. Okay. Now just do some mathematical simplifications. I'll show you the simplification now. So rearranging equation 1. So whatever the equation 1 you have, simply rearrange it, LHS and RHS. So what I've done here is this first quantity sigma x plus sigma y by 2 in the equation 1, I have taken it to the LHS side. That is sigma n minus sigma x plus sigma y by 2 is equal to the same quantity. That this equation I'll call it as equation 3. Okay. Now after getting equation 3, what I'll do here is I'll simply square and add equation 2 and 3. So squaring and adding equation 2 and 3. And you also know that cos square 2 theta plus sin square 2 theta is equal to 1. Right? We know this fact. Do you know this? Cos square 2 theta plus sin square 2 theta is equal to 1. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no? Right. So you can also use this. That's why I have given a hint here. Cos square 2 theta plus sin square 2 theta is equal to 1. So what you need to do here is squaring and adding equation 2 and equation 3. So when you square and add, so you will get this final equation sigma n minus sigma x plus sigma y by 2 the whole square plus sigma t square is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 the whole square plus q square. So this final equation you will get. Okay. How did you get this? Square and add equation 2 and 3. Now, observe this equation carefully. Okay, observe this equation carefully. I hope you know what's the equation of a circle. Do you know? Anybody? Because I have written it here, but you have learned this already in 10th, PUC and all. Do you have an equation of a circle? Yes? Anybody?
X
You have.
square
X,
plus
yes,
y
yes,
square
very
is
correct.
equal to r square.
Excellent, very correct. X square plus y square is equal to r square. That's nothing but equation of a circle, right? We know this fact. So when you get an equation x square plus y square is equal to r square, it simply means that there is a circle. It's an equation of a circle, right? We know this fact. Now, please observe this equation what we have got. Sigma n minus sigma x plus sigma y by 2 the whole square plus sigma t square is equal to this, right? So we got this equation. Now observe this equation carefully. This equation indicates the equation of a circle. It is in the form of a circle. It's not exactly the equation. The form of equation of a this equation as sigma n minus a the whole square plus sigma t square is equal to r square, which as your friend said rightly, x square plus y square is equal to r square. Is it in the same form? Observe this, sigma n minus a the whole square plus sigma t square is equal to r square. Is it in the form of equation of a circle? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. So it is in the form of equation of a circle. Now that means I have used sigma n and sigma t, normal stress and tangential stress. Now by using those two equations, I determined another equation which is in the form of a circle. Now that means you can say it is also a proof saying that Mohr circle gives you the values of all these principal plane and principal stress. Okay, so this is the equation of a circle, and in this equation, A indicates, small a indicates center of a circle, that is sigma x minus sigma y by 2. This is the center of a circle, and as you said, x square plus y square is equal to r square. R is nothing but the radius of a circle, which is in the RHS. So here, what is our R? The R in this particular equation is sigma x minus sigma y by 2 the whole square plus q square. This is R. That is nothing but radius of a circle. So when you draw a circle and if you want to calculate what's the radius of a circle, if you use this formula, you will get radius of a circle. Is this clear to you all? Center of a circle and radius of a circle. Now you need to remember this. Center of a circle A and radius of a circle R. Now all this equation, it is just a proof to you saying that Mohr circle indicates the stresses on an inclined plane. That's for the proof of that indication. I have shown you this equation. Okay, is it understood to you all? Yes. Do you have any up to here? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next is about sign conventions. So observe the sign conventions. So when you'll be drawing the graph, I'll explain this in your numerical examples. So sign convention is tensile direct stress is taken as positive. Tensile stress is taken as positive. Compressive direct stress is taken as negative. Okay. And clockwise, the shearing stress is going to provide some moment, right? So the complementary shear which is generated in a 2D stress system, that's going to provide you some moment. So if that moment is clockwise, then it is positive. If it is anti-clockwise, then it is negative. So this is the other sign convention. Of course, this I'll explain you while I'll be explaining the numerical examples. Now let's see the construction. How do you construct a Morse circle? Now we got to, up to here, we got to know that you have a circle and you have a radius. That radius of a circle, I have told you what is the formula by deriving. And what is the center of a circle, I have given the formula. Now the question is, when a numerical example is given to you, okay, let's say if sigma x, sigma y and q is given to you, how do you construct a Morse circle? That's the biggest question now. So let's see the construction part, okay. So the construction, you need to follow these steps now, okay. So follow these steps. Here you can see the first point, that is A point, okay. So the A point says that, okay, the A point says that select a Cartesian coordinate system with origin O and x-axis as direct axis, y-axis as shearing stress axis. So the first point is very simple now. Okay, you can take any graph that is you know how to follow the Cartesian system or the coordinate system, right? So system, when if someone asks you
Yes.
to draw a graph, what is the first step you will do? X-axis, y-axis, and origin, and is it not? So the same thing you should do it here. So whenever a numerical example is given to you, x-axis, y-axis, and origin O. Follow the Cartesian system. But only the difference is here x-axis should be taken as direct stress axis. That is your sigma x and sigma y. These are the direct stress axis. And y-axis should be taken as shearing stress axis. That is Q or toe. Is this understood to you all? Yes? Okay, so next, B point. So the second point after drawing x-axis, y-axis and origin is, you need to locate the point D. Okay, the point D indicates the coordinate sigma x comma q. So let me show you the graph so it becomes easy to you to understand these points. See, I have shown you the graph here. Is this visible to you all? Is this visible to
Yes,
you all?
ma'am.
Okay. See, what I have done here is, initially what you do here is draw your x-axis and y-axis. That's what I have done. So from O, you can see here the point O. Okay, I hope the cursor is also visible to you. You can see the point O here. Okay, so after marking the point O, what I've done, I have simply drawn this x-axis and I have simply drawn this y-axis. Okay, now this x-axis, observe this direction, what I have written, direct stress, in the sense your sigma x and sigma y. So instead of writing x-axis, I have written it as direct stress. Next, y-axis. What did I write for y-axis? Shearing stress. Is it visible to you? And I have written it as Q, shearing stress Q. Yes. After this, after drawing x-axis, y-axis and origin, the second point says that you need to mark the point D. Is this point D visible to you? You need to mark the point D. So of course, when you'll be drawing the graph, always you'll be having your protractor, scale, compass, and all those things, right? So all the geometric accessories should be ready with you. Okay, now after marking x-axis, y-axis, and origin, mark the point D. How do you mark the point D? D, what are the coordinates? I have written the coordinates also. Sigma x comma q. So in any given, now if you observe the previous examples what we have solved, is it not sigma x and q was to be given to you? Was it given to you in the question? Direct stress sigma x and q. It used to be given to you in the question or no? Yes? Sigma x q. Was it given to you in the previous examples?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So whatever you can take the same numerical examples also, not an issue. So you can take the same numerical example, mark the point D. That is the coordinates are sigma x comma q. What is sigma x? From where to where you will mark? Always you should consider it from origin. You know this. So Cartesian system, always all the values follows from the origin. So sigma x, the meaning of sigma x at the point D is from 0 to A point. So from O to A, it is sigma x. Suppose it is, if it is 20 Newton per mm square, you need to convert it some scale. You can use some scale and then you can use this 20 Newton per mm square. If say suppose 1 centimeter is equal to, 1 Newton per mm square is equal to 1 centimeter, then if it is 20 Newton per mm square, then it will become 20 centimeters. Okay, so from 0 to A, mark 20 centimeters. That is 20 Newton per mm square, because our scale is 1 Newton per mm square is equal to 1 centimeter. So 0 to A, of course, I have given you an example. Okay, you can use some other values also. So mark 0 to A, whatever the question is given to you, and from A to D. What is A to D? It is y-axis, A to D. So that is nothing but Q value. So Q value is also will be given to you in the question. So you even convert that Q in terms of some scale and draw the point AD. So finally, I got a point D, which indicates the coordinates of the point D are sigma x comma q. After marking the point D, now mark the point E, as you can show here. So I have clearly shown it here. Mark the point E. You can use your protractor, compass and all. Mark the point E. How do you mark the point E? The coordinates I have written it here, sigma y comma q. Sigma y in the sense the x-axis, that is 0 to B. 0 to B indicates sigma y. Again, convert it some scale and draw the marking. So 0 to B, it is sigma y. Now once you get the point B, direct it towards E point. So this E to B distance indicates Q, shearing stress Q. So now you have the 2 points D and E. Okay, you have the 2 points D and E. Now join the points D and D. That is what I have joined it here. So join this point D and E. After joining the point D and E, it's going to intersect on the direct stress axis at the point C. So you can see the point C now. So this line is going to intersect at the point C, that is direct stress. Can you see the intersection point C? Yes, can you see the point C? Okay, so this is intersection point C. So this C indicates center of a circle. Okay, the point C indicates the center of the circle. So now you have the point A, of course, you have the point O, D, E, and C. Okay, now what you should do here is, after getting all these points, take the protractor. Okay, now take the radius which is equal to CD or CE. Is it not? I can take the radius equal to CD or CE. Okay, by using the protractor, with the help of the radius CD or CE, can you draw the circle now? Can you draw the circle when a radius is given to you and center point is given to you? Simple as so. Drawn the circle now. So now once the circle is drawn, okay, the more circle is clearly visible to you now. Now the next point is you need to mark all the points and measure all the values. So the next what you should do here is, from the point D, drop a perpendicular up to the point A. Similarly, from the point E, drop a perpendicular up to the point B. So now you have the point A as well as point B. Okay, now you can see here, join DE and let C be the point of intersection on direct stress, and C as center and radius equal to CD or CE, draw the circle. So this is called as Mohr circle. That's what we have done till now. Okay, now after taking the perpendicular B and A, let DA and EB be the perpendicular to direct stress. That's what I have told you now. Now, just see this. Let DCA is equal to 2 theta 1. So just observe this angle DCA. Is this angle clearly visible to you? Angle DCA. Let it be 2 theta 1. Okay. Angle DCA, let it be 2 theta 1. Now, if this is 2 theta 1, CE or CD is equal to R. We know this. CD or CE is equal to R. That is radius of a circle. Similarly, in this particular triangle, I can say BC or CA is equal to R cos 2 theta 1. Right? You can observe this triangle. BC is equal to R cos 2 theta 1. Okay. So you can, when a triangle is given to you, you know how to apply sine and cos. Right? Now, C is the midpoint of AB. We know this. Okay. You can see the graph. C is the midpoint of AB. I can write, if C is the midpoint of AB, I can write OC is equal to OA plus OB divided by 2, which is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2. Because how did I write the sigma x plus sigma y by 2? Because we know that those are the coordinates. So if you take those coordinates, you can take this as sigma x plus sigma y by 2. And also I can say C is equal to half of AB. Okay, so A and B are nothing but sigma x and sigma y. So sigma x minus sigma y by 2. And later on, I can say R is equal to, radius is equal to root of CA square plus AD square. Okay, root of CA square plus AD square. In this particular triangle, hypotenuse is nothing but R. So if this R, what can I write for radius R? Root of CA square plus AD square. So that's what I have written here. And CA and AD, we have already written the values. So simply back substitute, you will get this final radius. So once again, I have proved that radius R is root sigma x sigma y square plus square. Center of the circle is sigma x minus sigma y by 2. So previously I have told you, even now I have proven it here with the help of circle. Radius is this and center of circle is this. So now after this, let P be the point such that angle DCP is equal to 2 theta. So I have I simply have taken a point P here such that angle DCP, observe this carefully, angle DCP. In this particular angle DCP is 2 theta. Okay. Now in this, by taking the point D, P and DCP as 2 theta, what I have done here is, okay, now I can write CE or CD is equal to R. Okay. Okay. Now to show that its coordinate represent normal and tangential stress. So the Mohr circle says that now when you take a point P here on the circle, by taking angle 2 theta 1 is equal to that is DCP as 2 theta 1, I can say that the coordinates of the point P indicates normal stress and the tangential stress, sigma n and sigma t. Sigma t, of course, it should be reversed. Okay, it should be first is sigma n, next is sigma t. Whereas sigma n is from O to G is sigma n, PG is sigma t. So there is slight correction here. O to G is sigma n and PG is sigma t. Now, how did I use this? How do you get to know that the coordinates of P represent normal and tangential stress? Now, to prove this, I have made a small proof here. Okay, to prove this, you can observe here. So, draw a perpendicular PG on the direct stress. I can say that CG is CP cos 2 theta minus 2 theta 1. So, by considering the triangle, I have written it here. Now, you know the extension of cos of 2 theta minus 2 theta 1, mathematics. So just expand this. CP is nothing but R. So R is next. Cos 2 theta into cos 2 theta 1 minus sin 2 theta into sin 2 theta 1. It is a simple for mathematics formula, cos A minus B formula. So I have just extended here cos A minus B. Okay. So after extending, what I have done here is cos 2 theta 1 is CA by R, sin 2 theta 1 is AD by R. So I have just back substituted. Later on, this R will get cancelled. So what remained is CA cos 2 theta minus plus AD sin 2 theta. But we know that in the previous equation, CA is nothing but sigma x minus sigma y by 2 and AD is nothing but Q. So I have back substituted here. So this equation I'll get finally, Cg value. Now later on, the abscissor of P is nothing but OG. Let me show you in the diagram. So this is the point P. What is the abscissor of P? OG. OG is the abscissor, that is x-axis. Now this OG, I can split it. How do I split it? OG, I can take it as OC plus CG. Is it not? OG is equal to OC plus CG. So that's what I have written here, OG plus CG. Yes, here you can see OG plus CG. Okay, so abscissor of P is OG, that is OC plus CG. Okay, now this OC we have already written it as in the previous equation, that is sigma x plus sigma y by 2, and CG now we have already derived the CG, so that same equation I have written it here, sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta plus q sin 2 theta. So now observe this equation very carefully. Observe this equation very carefully. Observe this equation. What this equation represent? Is it not the normal stress which we have derived previously? Yes or no? Is this a normal stress equation, sigma n equation which we have derived? Yes, this is a normal stress equation which we have derived in the previous manual method, that is analytic method. So how from this I can say that by using the graph, the coordinates of the P represents normal stress and tangential stress. Now I have proved it here. So in your particular graph, if we take an angle 2 theta on the OG side, okay, then that represents the coordinates, that is sigma n and sigma t, normal stress and tangential stress. So this I have proved it here. In a similar way, you can also prove sigma t. So instead of proving, I have written it directly. So in a similar way, ordinates of P indicates sigma t, that is Pg is equal to sigma t. Now after this, I can say that at last M in the circle indicates stress. The final indicates resultant stress, sigma root of sigma n square plus sigma t square. And the abscissor of P is sigma n, ordinate of P is sigma t. Right? So this is all about the Mohr circle and its construction. In the next class, we shall go to numerical examples on the Mohr circle. We shall see how to draw the graph, and then that completes your compound stress. Now, let me quickly brush up this Mohr circle once again. See, whatever that equations I have explained, this equation simply, it is just to prove that whether the considered Mohr circle literally represents your compound stress or no. It is just a proof. Okay, or otherwise what you need to remember in a circle is, see, let me brush up this circle once again. What did you do here? First you mark the origin, x-axis as direct stress, y-axis as shearing stress. Later on, what did you do? You mark the point D and E by taking coordinates sigma xq and sigma yq, right? After this, by using a protractor and radius equal to DC or CE, you have drawn the circle, right? After drawing the circle, you have taken the perpendicular DA and perpendicular EB, right? So now after that, after taking an angle 2 theta from CD, okay, from CD, if you take 2 theta, suppose usually the theta will be given to you at what angle the inclination of your inclined line goes. So 2 theta will be given to you. So if you take 2 theta by using your protractor, you will get the point P, right? So mark that point P on a circle. So after marking the point P on a circle, so join PG and join PO. Join PG and join PO, right? This PG indicates sigma T. Remember this, that is tangential stress. PG indicates sigma T, and OG indicates sigma N, normal stress. And what about OP? OP indicates the resultant stress on an inclined plane, that is root of sigma t square plus sigma n square. And another very important point is, you know what is the radius of a circle formula and center of a circle. That also you need to remember, right? And another very important point here is the point M in a circle. The point M in a circle indicates, that is why I have clearly shown the dotted lines. The point M in a circle is maximum stress. notations which principal stress and minimum principal stress? Anybody? What are the notations which we have used? Maximum principal stress and minimum principal stress.
M and N, ma'am.
No, here it is M and N. But in numerical methods, in analytic method, in the 2 days what we have solved in a previous class, what are the notations? Maximum principal stress, minimum principal stress. The formula, what is the notation which we have used? Sigma. Do you remember that?
Sigma n.
Oh, sigma n is normal stress. I'm talking about maximum principal stress, minimum principal stress. You used to determine it, right? In numerical examples. Sigma n is normal stress. Sigma t is tangential stress. What about maximum principal stress and minimum principal stress? Yes, you have two formulas. Remember that? Of course, it is, if you observe this circle carefully, even in circle I have written there in brackets.
Sigma 1 and sigma 2.
Exactly, sigma 1 and sigma 2. Sigma 1 is major principal stress. Sigma 2 is minor principal stress. Do you remember this now at least? Yes? Sigma 1, sigma 2, major principal stress, minor principal stress. So now in this circle, M indicates major principal stress, that is sigma 1. So what you should do here is take your scale from the origin, measure this OM. So if you measure this OM, say suppose if the scale is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 Newton per mm square, if the distance from OM is 15 centimeter, so what is the value for maximum principal stress? Anybody? If the scale is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 Newton per mm square, okay? Now if you measure the distance from O to M, if you get it as 15 centimeter, then what is the value for maximum principal stress?
15 Newton per mm square.
Exactly, 15 Newton per mm square. That will be your sigma 1. Now similarly, I say that N indicates minimum principal stress. So if you measure the distance from O to N, this indicates minimum principal stress. N is the point of minimum principal stress. That is why I have shown the dotted lines. So if you measure this O to N, this indicates minimum principal stress. And also, can you see the yes point here? Can you see this yes point? Of course, I need to take a line here. This yes point indicates maximum shearing stress. So if you join this S to C, center of a circle, SC, this SC indicates maximum shearing stress. Do you know you used to determine it, right, with the help of a formula, right? So instead of using that formula, now in the circle you can determine by taking a scale. So use your scale, measure S to C distance. This will give you maximum shearing stress. Okay, now another point. P is the point where you can find out the stresses on an inclined plane wherever you want. So if you take an angle 2 theta from CD, the point P indicates sigma n comma sigma t values, that is OG. OG is sigma n, PG is sigma t, and the point OP indicates resultant stress. Okay, so I hope this graph is understood to you all. In the next class, we shall solve the numerical examples. Is this understood to you all? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So in the next class, so today at 1 p.m. today, so okay, again you have strength of material class. Then there we shall solve the numerical examples. Okay. So that's all for this today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.